I pull that they don't like to see you winning. They wanna see you in a penitentiary. I need me a little baby who gon' listen. Girl, I don't wanna be the one you ignorant. My mama told me, boy, make a decision.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Clutch Talk podcast /YouTube/ We Do It All.
COVID edition.
COVID edition, man. And I know y'all probably looking like, what is going on? The Zoom for the Clutch Talk? Man, yes, sir, man. That's what we got, man. We got my two brothers here with me today, man. We got my big bro, Junior. Junior, say what's up to everybody.
What's up, everybody? Glad to be back.
Yes, sir. And then we got my guy Jaylin here with me today, man.
What's up, man? What's up, y'all? How y'all
doing? We really excited. We're really excited, y'all. And I'm also happy to let y'all know this is the new Clutch Talk crew, man. Moving forward, this is the crew. This is what we got going forward. We'll still bring some. Exactly, the Clutch crew, man. So we'll still bring some guests on, stuff like that when COVID gets better. But as of right now, This is what we rocking with, man. This is the Zoom group, the Zoom Clutch group, man. But yeah, there you have it, man. So for today, well, we got a good topic. We're giving each team in the Western Conference a grade, A, B, C, D, and F, but only the Western Conference teams, man. So we're gonna go through the list, go through each team, give them a grade, give them a reasoning or two, and that's it, man. We just gonna have some fun with it. Y'all ready?
Always have
ready.
fun.
Let's do it.
Let's do this, man. So without no further ado, let's start with the GOATs, man. The best team. The team that won the championship last season, man. Let's start with the Lakers, man. I gotta give them an A. What other grade could you give them? How do the champs get
A+.
better? A+.
You have to give them A+.
Come on, man. The 2 times champs, like the champs get better. They signed Montrezl Harrell, signed Wesley Matthews, signed Marc Gasol, came out of nowhere. Nobody thought Marc Gasol was coming. It traded for Dennis Schroeder. I know my guys got something to say, so I'm gonna let y'all handle it. But even just those moves, that's not even everything. It gives them an A, but it's crazy to me that the champions just got better. How y'all feel, man? Talk to me.
No, it's nice, man. I give them an A+++++++. There's only one more team that came close to them, but they're not actually in the West. So they're still top of the league, man. I mean, Rob Pelinka deserves a statue in front of Staples, man.
Come on, man.
He's got to get his statue. They're gonna retire his blazer up there with all the jerseys, man. He upgraded almost every single position they lost. Flipped Danny Green in a late first round into Dennis Schroeder, who led the league in points off the bench. Picked up the 6th man of the year, Montrezl Harrell, like you said. And I know people say, he got exposed on defense and stuff, but now his defensive partner is not going to be Zubac. It's going to be Anthony Davis.
Come on.
So it's a little different.
Yeah.
And they got, like you said, Gasol on the minimum contract, and a lot of people say, a lot of professional players say it's very easy to get complacent when you win. And I think that they refreshed enough of the roster so they don't get complacent, and they have still some guys who are hungry to get that first ring. It's hard to say anything against them. If anything, if you want to come up with a knock, you'd probably say, not keeping Dwight or not getting Boogie, but they wanted bigger roles, and that's not something that the Lakers could have offered them. But man, what an offseason! What an offseason!
It's been an amazing offseason. I mean, Davis got the max, the $100 million max contract, man, and they had to get LeBron back with the $85 million.
Pretty good. And it was good for the Lakers too to lock down AD for 5 years, right, or 4 plus an option. Because today you're seeing a lot of 1+1 deals and more player empowerment. So, a fear. At least I'll be honest. I mean, everybody who's been watching Clutch Talk knows I'm a Lakers fan, so I don't have to hide that. But my fear was when LeBron retired, because he's going to retire at some point. AD maybe leaves, and then the team, is back to where they started, where they were a couple years ago. But I think with that 5-year contract, that kind of eliminates that fear. So, Pelinka was able to sell Rob on something beyond LeBron. And I think that's just, man, that was an offseason for the ages, really.
Yes,
really
definitely.
It's your number one in the offseason pickups in all the
definitely number one
for sure. And they didn't overpay players who they could have kept. Like Rondo, for example, he had a great playoffs. Its regular season wasn't so much, but he had great playoffs. And it's very easy for teams to overpay in that sense. And, Lakers didn't fall into that. Much respect to Rondo. Thank him for his contributions. Best of luck to him in Atlanta. But I think it was a smart move for the Lakers, to get younger in that position. That's what they did with Schroeder.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I got a question for both of you. So for me, I know my answer personally. So the question is, out of all the players we lost, I want y'all to give me one player, both of you, that you think hurt us the most. I'm saying us because that hurt the Lakers. That hurt the Lakers the most to lose. I think it's Rondo. I think it hurt the most to lose Rondo because Rondo was a great player that could bring the ball up court and have LeBron and Anthony Davis run the lanes. When LeBron and Anthony Davis are in, instead of LeBron bringing the ball down court, it could be Rondo, and then Rondo has LeBron and AD running the lanes. That's scary. But so I think Rondo hurt the most out of everybody. But go ahead, Junior and then Jaylin.
I agree with you because, Rondo is like a pure point guard. He is one of the most pure point guards in the league. So, it's really hard to replace that. Dennis Schroeder is a good point guard, but he isn't, the type of point guard that's going to be dishing and rebounds and doing all the other things just like Rondo.
Exactly.
Man, for me, I'm not going to go with Rondo. I'm actually going to go with, I think, either Dwight or Boogie, man. And I know that Boogie is a Boogie, man. I know that Boogie never played for the Lakers really officially. But, man, he's been on the sidelines for 2 years or almost 2 years. Like, he's hungry, and I think he's going to be a great addition to that Rockets team. I would have loved to see him because he's I don't know how old he is, but I don't think he's past 30.
No.
So the Lakers would have been able to have, Boogie, if Boogie gets back to half of what he was, that's still a solid player.
Yeah.
So I think losing Boogie was probably the biggest thing. I almost said Bradley, but I don't know. They played pretty well without him in the bubble. And here's another thing, too, that I didn't even take into consideration until later. But, what if Bradley, he didn't go to the bubble because of COVID fears. Well, now there's no bubble and COVID's still here. So who knows how available he's going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows if Miami's going to get all 72 games out of him this season. We don't know that. So maybe, it wasn't worth the gamble. Dwight's energy, too, is another thing that I think the Lakers might miss a little. They got a little bit older in that center position, even though Dwight is 34, and so is Marcus. No, Marcus Gasol's 35.
Yeah.
Marcus Gasol's a little slower. It's a different type of center. Dwight being that athletic center, whereas Gasol's more that cunning, smart, slower player, Mm-hmm. So, man, it's tough, but I'll probably say Boogie.
Okay. All right. So now we moving on to the other LA team. We got the LA Clippers, the wackest one of all. But so for the Clippers, man, I gave them a B. Only reason why I gave them a B is because they did sign Luke Kennard they did trade for Luke Kennard on the Clippers, who is a scorer first point guard, and they picked up Nicholas Batum and Serge Ibaka. Serge Ibaka they picked up Nicholas Batum and Serge Ibaka. I think Nicholas Batum is past his prime. Serge Ibaka can still be a very much help to that team. I think he's actually an upgrade than Montrezl Harrell. To be honest with me, I would rather have Serge. So I think it was a great pickup for them. But the reason why I could not give them, there's a lot of reasons why I couldn't give them an A, but the reason why I couldn't give them higher than a B is because they lost most of their bench scoring, losing Montrezl Harrell, losing Larry Shamet, losing Rodney McGruer and JaMychal Green. I know you're like, oh, where's Lou? Lou's all their bench scoring, but Lou really only scores with Montrez because they run that pick and roll, and then somebody's left open every single time. But now Trez is gone, so Lou can't even run his pick and rolls anymore. So that's why I say that the Clippers lost almost not all their bench scoring, but a good amount of their bench scoring, losing Montrez, losing Larry Shamet, and Rodney McGruer.
Mm-hmm.
How y'all feeling about the Clippers, man?
Man, I'm ready. I cannot believe you gave him a B, man. I gave him a C minus, man.
I gave him a
C. Shambolic offseason, man.
Okay.
Like you said, Montrez, Shamet, Green, and they're acceptable losses, except maybe for Montreal, But they overpaid Marcus Morris so much. I think Marcus Morris is a little better than Markieff, a little bit, but not that much. Where we could give him, where the Lakers could give him a minimum, and they pay him $64 million over 3 years. And look. So they overpaid for Marcus Morris. I think Luke Kennard's okay. He's a mediocre player. Apparently, Ty Lue doesn't even know who he is. So I don't know if you guys saw that interview, but Ty Lue was given an interview, and he completely forgot Luke Kennard's name. He's like, we picked up, and then he pretended that the audio froze, that the video froze. But honestly, man, Ibaka saved their offseason from being an F. Like, that's what I think, honestly. He's going to be good for them. He's a great player, and it's a great pickup for the Clippers. I agree with you, John. Like, I think Ibaka is a little bit better than Harrell. I don't think he's worlds better than Harrell. I think he's a little bit better than Harrell. But Harrell is significantly younger. I think he's got 4 or 5 years on him. So at the same price, I actually prefer the Harrell pickup. Like, if it was like a 1-year deal for each, I'd rather have Ibaka. I agree. But it's not just the here and now. You know, it's going forward. And I think that getting a younger team was also part of keeping that AD trade. But let me not get into the Lakers. Clippers, C-. Talk to me, Jaylin.
I gave them a C because, like, I don't really see them, you know, like, changing that much of, like, their game plan, you know, because I feel like they kind of just, like, replace certain positions with, like, almost the exact same player, you know, like Serge Ibaka and Montrezl Harrell. They're not like they have like the same role going into the next season, you know, as like the person that's going to rebound and get it and go get it for you. And they got Luke Kennard, you know, he's a good shooter. Traded for Landry Shamet, you know, they're doing okay, but they're not doing bad, you know. That's why I gave them a C.
Okay. I like that. I respect that. So now let's go on to the Nuggets, man. How are y'all feeling about the Nuggets? I personally gave the Nuggets a C. And the reason why I gave them a C is because they lost 2 starters and a solid bench player. And all they got back was one, not even a solid bench player, just one bench player. He's not even solid. Man, they lost Jeremy Grant to the Pistons. They lost Mason, which is a starter. They lost Mason Plumlee, which is a solid bench player, to the Pistons. They lost Torian Craig, which is a starter, to the Bucks. So I mean, like, that hurts. Like, that hurts really, really bad for the Nuggets because those are 2 key players and then a solid bench player for them. And all they got back was JaMychal Green from the Clippers. But one thing that I did, I almost gave them a D because they lost so many starters and only gained back someone who is not equivalent. But the only reason why I gave him a C, man, is because of R.J. Hampton. They just drafted R.J. Hampton. I think he has Michael Porter Jr. potential. Like, he is going to be raw. I think he's going to, like, take some years to get good, like how Michael Porter took like 2-3 years to get good. I know his back injury and some stuff like that. But I think R.J. Hampton has the potential to be nice, man. Like, real nice. So that's why I think he's a sleeper pick. He's the 24th pick, man. So I gave him a C. How y'all feeling about the Nuggets?
I gave them a C too because, you know, like, the only good thing that they have going for them is R.J. Hampton this whole year. So I mean, that's the only reason why I gave him a C. Nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. I had a C for me as well. So it's funny we all gave him the same grade. I thought I was being tough, but yeah, I mean, losing, like you said, they lost a lot of significant players. The biggest one being Jeremy Grant. I mean, that was a huge blow to them.
Man.
And, you know, they kept Paul Millsap, but he's not what he used to be. You know, he's getting a little bit up there in age, you know, basketball age. And I know they got this – I forgot the guy's name now. It's got this Argentinian, like, player. I think he was playing for Real Madrid in Spain. And he's supposed to be, like, the next, like, J.J. Barea, which, I mean, J.J. Barea doesn't come in and save your franchise. But he's a solid – you know, he's a solid player. So I think honestly, and R.J. Hampton, obviously, that you guys talked about. But I think – just losing Grant along with everybody else, but especially Grant, really hurt them a lot. So I give him a C.
Okay. All right. Now moving on to the boringest team every offseason, man. We got the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, they didn't really do much, so I gave them a D. All they did is just pick up their draft pick, which is Devin Vassell with the 11th pick, and then Trey Jones with the 41st pick. And then they lost their point guard, Brandon Forbes, and then they lost Marco Bellinelli, which we all know could shoot. So, yeah. I mean, Marco Bellinelli is older, but besides that, they didn't do anything.
Shooting doesn't get old. You see Kyle Korver?
I gave him a D, man. How y'all feeling about the Spurs?
I gave him a C-. They didn't do much. They picked up nobody significant. They lost, like you said, Bellinelli and Brent Forbes, and they're both shooters. So they lost 2 shooters. And, you know, like, they could have flipped the Rosen and Aldridge for something and just start a rebuild. You know, kind of like the Thunder. Like, the Thunder, they're flipping people every year, just getting picks. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost a thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to come in here and encourage tanking, you know, but it's almost a thing like, if you're not winning, you're losing. It doesn't matter if you're second in the West or if you lose in the conference finals, you're losing. I mean, you could always be a piece away or something, but if the Spurs are probably not even going to make the playoffs. So if you barely miss it or if you get last, I think they probably could have flipped DeRozan and Aldridge or something. There was desire for DeRozan around the league. Mm-hmm. Aldridge, he's a serviceable big man. You can always get something for him. So, and they didn't. They want to do the rebuild the hard way, which I guess good for basketball, right? That they're just not tanking. But at the same time, it's like I was just unimpressed by their offseason.
Mm-hmm. They always have a pretty boring offseason. That's why I gave them a C too. They're a boring team. They only picked up Trey Jones, who I really liked in college. He's a player that's gonna play 94 feet on you. He's gonna get it for you, and that's why I really like not liked, but I guess tolerated this team's.
I guess I'll put up with it.
I guess.
Okay. All right. So moving on to the next team, we got the Portland Trailblazers. Man, talk to me how y'all feeling about that, man. Go ahead, y'all go ahead, kick that off. Go ahead, Junior or Jaylin.
All right. Blazers, I gave him a B. Kept Melo, got Enes Kanter back, Derek Jones Jr., but their biggest pickup is Covington. I mean, the only negative was losing Hassan Whiteside, but that's always the thing about, like, how much of a negative was it? His numbers don't lie. He's a solid player. But I hear he's not a good locker room guy. For my NBA sources, they're telling me he's not a good locker room guy. So, how much of a loss was it? I guess we'll see, how the Kings do. But and it was actually weird because he stayed on the board for long. Hassan Whiteside on the board. I mean, like no one picked him up. He was a free agent for a long time. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's some other stuff going on we don't even know about. Because if you look at those numbers, that's not a player that stays for a free agent very long.
Lead league in blocks.
I know, and I think I don't quote me on it, but he might have been averaging a double-double. So
he was
more than likely.
Yeah, he's a solid player. I still don't think they have enough to go all the way. I say this every year about Dame. I like the dude, but could be as loyal as he wants, but he's just going to end up being like another Gary Payton who's just, he's going to end up with 0 rings, a great player with 0 rings. You know what I mean? That stayed true to his team, but didn't do much.
Yeah.
And then Gary Payton tried to go to the Lakers when he was, pushing 40 and form that, that super team, quote unquote, with in 04, and they didn't win a ring. So who knows? Dame stays with the Trailblazers forever and then tries to go to, a super team when he's older and wins maybe. I don't know. So, yeah, I gave him a B. They had a good offseason compared to most other teams.
Mm-hmm. I gave them a B because these are their pickups, like Robert Covington and his character, Derek Jones Jr. I'm actually proud of Derek Jones Jr. because he has a $19 million deal. That's pretty good for him for 2 years. And just seeing like where he came from and just seeing like him come up and seeing him finally getting his respect for playing on, the Heat, and he's finally on a team that hopefully he's going to appreciate him.
I agree, man. I couldn't. Yeah, y'all took the words out of my mouth. I also gave him a B. But one thing I do got to disagree with you on, Jenner, you said the biggest pickup is Robert Covington. I believe their biggest pickup is Enes Kanter. Enes Kanter, I've been saying this for so long. Enes Kanter is so slept on. He's so nice. Slept on. Every single game, he is grabbing you 12 to 14 rebounds, and he's at least putting up 10 points. Enes Kanter.
14 rebounds.
Enes Kanter is. I'm telling you, I love Enes Kanter, and he even started on the Trailblazers. He started on Trailblazers, got traded away from the Trailblazers, and then he came back, and then now he's back. But like how you guys said everything, man. Like Robert Covington's a huge pickup. Jaylin mentioned Derek Jones Jr. Man, I'm super happy for him because he was just known as a dunker, but now what I'm saying, he's coming into his role. And one thing that I do want to add that hurt them a lot, definitely how Junior mentioned, is Hassan Whiteside leaving, but also Trevor Ariza. Like I know Trevor Ariza is older, but Trevor Ariza is a 3-and-D player, which Robert Covington is as well. But like Trevor Ariza is a good 3-and-D player, a good locker room guy. I've heard from multiple, like how Junior says, multiple NBA sources that Trevor Ariza is a great locker room guy. He's a glue guy. He's who keeps them together. So I did that. Also is more of like a sentimental one, but Trevor Ariza, losing Trevor Ariza hurts.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Okay. All right. So moving on to the Kings. It's funny. We were just talking about Trailblazers, talking about the Kings where Hassan Whiteside signed. Yeah. I gave them a C. And they only Hassan Whiteside, lost Harry Giles, lost Kyle Guy, who was crazy. Yeah, they lost a lot of people, lost a lot of young guys. Kyle Guy, I wanted to mention this. He has crazy, not just because his name's Kyle, but he has crazy Kyle Korver potential. Kyle Guy can shoot the lights out, bro. He can shoot the lights. I remember watching him in college last year. He's crazy. And they lost Kent Bazemore, who's never been the same since he left the Hawks. So that's why I gave him a C. Talk to me. How y'all feeling?
You forgot their biggest loss, Bogdanović.
Oh man,
they did lose Bogdanović.
And they lost him for nothing because they could have matched him. He was a restricted free agent. They didn't match him. He's solid enough. And I'm gonna say something here, but like I don't want anybody to misunderstand me. Like because SAC is California. I'm California through and through. Like I'm not trying to talk bad on Sacramento, but that's not a free agent destination. People don't just be like, oh, I cannot wait to move to Sacramento. And I feel that like the reason why I said that is because I feel like losing Bogdanović actually was bad. Not that Bogdanović is some type of player that's going to attract everybody to Sacramento, but I think that even if the Kings saw Bogdanović as an overpay, they actually have to overpay a little bit to adjust for that factor, because they're not a free agent destination. So they need to keep what they got and build on what they got to be able to attract players, to be able to attract De'Aaron Fox to stay here longer. I know he signed a long deal, but you see players request trades all the time. And I know De'Aaron Fox would walk for nothing. They'd at least get something of good value in return if he demanded a trade.
He got a bag.
Yeah.
He got a bag.
What I'm saying is like they need to overpay for Bogdanović if that's what he wants to keep a good core together. You know what I mean? And they need to be smart. Like I said, they need to be smart because how patient is De'Aaron Fox going to be? Like, they haven't improved at all. We were hearing the same things about Devin Booker, right? Like, man, how much longer does he have with patience in Phoenix? They made some moves. They went to go pick up Chris Paul. I'll talk about it when we get there because that was one of my points. But back to Sacramento, how patient is De'Aaron Fox going to be? I don't know. Picking up Whiteside helps, but let's see how he's going to be in the locker room for them. Like we said, sources say. So we're going to see how he's going to have to be, but they're still not sniffing the playoffs. So, I gave him a D+, by the way. I didn't say my grade, but I gave him a D+. Losing Bogdanović was okay. D+, C-, we'll see. Hassan Whiteside could shift that a lot. If Hassan Whiteside's a great player, then that D+ becomes, a C+. But losing Bogdanović for nothing in the situation that they're in, I don't think was a smart move.
It's going to be like big overload over there because they have Hassan Whiteside and they also have Marvin Bagley Jr. That's going to be very good for like their front court, like the defensive aspect of it.
He's nice, but he needs to play.
Yeah, but I feel like now what's his name? Who did I just say?
Marvin Bagley.
Oh yeah, Bagley. He's gonna probably come into more of himself now because now he don't have to carry that load of being a big that plays defense, and rebounds and like he isn't that workhorse big anymore. He's gonna be more of that finesser type of big now. I feel like.
I like that. I like that point. That's true. He's going to be able to go back to who he was in college, which is like that agile big. Like he could take it out to the three and break you down. He could do that, but right now he can't do that because nobody on the Kings is going to play the big. So I agree with that. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't think about it from that aspect. That's a good point, actually. I completely forgot about him because he's been injured. But actually, that's a good point. Yeah. Let me change their. What did I give him, a D+? Let's change the D+ to a C-. No, I got to bump up a little bit. That's true. Marvin Bagley. I guess, like I always say when I come on, best type of availability, need to see him be more available, And that's not his fault, but it happens.
Okay.
So.
All right, moving on to the next team, we got the Jazz, man. I gave them a C because they didn't really do much. They just signed Derek Favors and lost a bunch of guys. They lost Ed Davis, Tony Bradley, and like a full list of guys. I could list them, but it'd take too long. Lost a bunch of guys and a couple picks. So we don't know what these guys are going to turn into. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. These guys could be scrubs or they could turn into Kawhi Leonard. We never know. But from what we do know, I gave him a C.
Okay. I gave him a C too, just because they didn't really do much. They did acquire Derek Favors and they lost a lot of players. Just like what you said, they didn't really do much, but I wasn't too surprised with what they did.
Okay.
I gave him a B minus. Like we've been kind of touching on, nothing significant. I think they kind of overpaid for both Favors and Clarkson. But I'm happy for Clarkson. He's a Laker baby, so I'm happy. He'll get that bread. He's got to get that bread. But like you guys said, it was just. I mean, they're a good team. They'll make the playoffs, I believe. I'm actually fairly confident they'll make the playoffs. But barring injuries. But just give them a B minus. I think that was just an average grade for an average offseason.
Okay. Moving on to I think this is a hot take. I don't think y'all gonna have this one. So we're moving on to the Rockets, man. So I'm gonna go last on this one so go ahead. Y'all go ahead and kick that one off.
All right, I'll go first on this one.
Go ahead.
For the Rockets, I gave them a B because they acquired John Wall, Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins, Jason Tate. They drafted Kenyon Martin Jr., but they lost a lot of players. I feel like right now they're in like the rebuilding process. They want to build the team around John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins, just like how they were at Kentucky, because they were a national championship winning team. So no telling what they could do like right now in the league and where their careers are. But I do know that DeMarcus Cousins has a lot of rebuilding to do and like a lot of mending himself back together. But once he does get to that level again, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I agree. I think they had the most polarizing offseason, whereas you'll have people who say they had a great offseason and people who say they had an awful offseason. I think this is the one that's probably going to be least agreed upon across the NBA community. But I give them a B+. I actually think that they had a pretty good offseason. I think Boogie's a gamble, but a good pickup. It's a non-guaranteed contract. I think, like I mentioned already, I think the Lakers fumbled a little bit there, but we don't know what's happening in the background. I think they won the Wall versus Westbrook trade, actually, and I have a reason for that. I think, first, they got Wall and a pick, and I think Wall's going to be a better fit next to Harden. Granted, he stays. Losing Covington's not good, but picking up Christian Wood is great. Or it's good. I don't want to overhype him. I think they had a solid offseason considering how their offseason began. Remember, the offseason began with Westbrook trade requests, Harden trade requests, and we thought they were just going to be just a fire sale. They're rebuilding, they're going to tank, and now they pretty much they were able to salvage most of that. As of today, Harden's still there. He hasn't gone to training camp, but he's returned to Houston, I heard. And it's funny because he's going to have to pass 6 COVID tests. Oh, wow. But I'm thinking now, actually, let me already put this on wax right now. I'm thinking that they're going to somehow fake his results to be positive results so he doesn't have to report to camp and the media doesn't have to speculate about all that stuff. They're going to just pretend, he tested positive and that's why he's not here. But really there's some other stuff going on in the background. That's my I'm putting it on wax right now. But if they lose Harden for anything less than a top 5 player, which isn't going to happen, then they'll probably drop down their grade because they'll have lost money on Harden. But I guess that depends on. It's hinging on Harden how good their offseason is. But put my prediction on wax.
All right, so I thought it was gonna be a hot take, but hearing your answers is not a hot take. I thought it was gonna be. I thought you guys were gonna give them like C's and D's. I gave the Rockets an A plus. A. Check this out. I said this. I know Junior knows this. I told him this. The Rockets, when they traded away Clint Capella and they were going to do this Warriors small ball, but without Warriors players, I was like, they will never win a championship. They will never win a championship with PJ Tucker being your biggest player on the court. That just will never happen, especially in today's NBA. It just will never happen. So the reason why I gave them an A is because they traded away Clint. They tried to do this little small ball thing with James Harden and Westbrook, and the whole time I knew this is not going to work. This is going to be terrible, and it was terrible. And now they realized it. So the reason why I gave them an A is because they got away from that plan. They traded Westbrook, so they got rid of Westbrook, which it sounds crazy, but it's great to get rid of Westbrook. Yeah. They got rid of Mike D'Antoni and that crazy small ball lineup he was trying to run, which is absolutely great. And getting rid of Mike D'Antoni means getting rid of the small ball game plan. So, and they did that by, like how Jaylin mentioned, signing DeMarcus Cousins, signing Christian Wood, who has great potential. He's still a player to watch out for, and trading for John Wall, and then drafting Kenyon Martin Jr., kind of Kenyon Martin's son. So that's cool. Like, see the whole and father and son coming around. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But like how Junior mentioned as well, like they did lose Robert Covington, Jeff Green, and Gerald Green. But I think those players were there to help the team around that small game plan, around that small ball game plan. Robert Covington was only there because he often would play as the center when they had no Clint Capella, but now that they got that they got a center back in DeMarcus Cousins and Christian Wood, whoever is going to run the center, they don't even really need not that they don't need Robert Covington. You could take Robert Covington, that's a great player, but they don't really need him for the same role that he was at, because last season he was defending the big every single time, him or PJ Tucker. So not a hot take anymore, but yes, A plus, man, because they got rid of Westbrook. They got rid of not A plus, just A. they got rid of Westbrook, and they got rid of Mike D'Antoni in that small ball lineup, and now they can finally go back to building around John Wall, James Harden, and DeMarcus Cousins. And if Christian Wood comes out to be something, that's a super team right there.
It's a nice team for sure. Yeah, I mean that was what I was saying. Boogie, Lakers fumble that one. But who do y'all think is better between Westbrook and John Wall, just pound for pound?
Pound for pound, like player for player.
Player for player. I'm not. Don't talk about who's around them. Just player for player.
I'm going Westbrook.
Oh, I was gonna go Westbrook at first. But I'm thinking about I might have to go Westbrook because John Wall hasn't played in so long. But man, do you remember John Wall? John Wall was
he was cold.
MVP, though. MVP was
MVP. Westbrook was cold, but John Wall was coming down court, dropping you, hitting threes, and coming through, dunking left hand.
But that was so long ago. It seems like I know what he is right now.
Nah, I would take Westbrook any day, but I think that when you add Wall and a pick, it starts getting a lot nicer for the Rockets, and like we said too, fits around James Harden is much better. I really want the Rockets to hang on to James Harden actually, because I don't want he's gonna force his way out and they're just gonna get nothing. I don't really like that. I'm not they should play for their contract. There's definitely things that player empowerment and owner empowerment is two different things. But I'd like to see teams I guess the Rockets keep Harden, see if they can withstand, because if Harden requests a trade and he doesn't, and they basically don't. They're like, no, you're going to play out the rest of your contract. It might set a precedent so players, stop doing that, because I think that's kind of whack when they request trades for no reason. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. If I could understand, I know it's going to sound biased, but I could understand Anthony Davis' situation. He was with New Orleans for 9 years. They did nothing to improve the team to give him a fighting chance. So you request a trade. That's completely fair. I know they're probably, if whoever's watching is he's a Lakers fan, that's why he says that about Anthony Davis. I think that's completely fair. But Harden, he's gotten a solid supporting cast around him. He got CP3. He got Westbrook, who, it didn't work out, but, you brought in a superstar player. He's gotten players that he's wanted. He's gotten a team, Houston is doing, I don't know if they're doing what they can, but they're doing quite a bit to keep him and to keep him happy. So it's and he still requests a trade after that. You almost think man, what else can we do? You want us to sign LeBron, AD, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie, and then put them all around you. You know what I mean? That's why I definitely would like to see him stay, so we can kind of put an end to that. Senseless trade requests. Those that make sense, like I said, I'm all for it. But when it's just I want to go team up with my buddies, even though I have a good team here, it's a little tougher.
You know what? I was at a B, but now I'm at a B minus because come to think of it, they got two players that are always hurt. They got John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins. And when DeMarcus Cousins came back, 2 years ago, for the Warriors, he wasn't even that good. He
won a finals game.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't been that good ever since he left Sacramento, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What about in New Orleans? He was nice in New Orleans before he got hurt.
He was nice for half a season.
Yeah, before he got hurt.
He's always getting hurt off the sun.
Yeah.
He's slow as heck. I don't like that.
Okay. All right, so moving on to the next team. The next team, we got the Mavericks, man. So I gave the Mavericks a B minus. I gave the Mavericks a B minus. The reason why I gave them B minus is because they picked up Josh Green in the draft from Arizona, which I think is going to be a good player. I liked him. Been watching him since high school. I think he's solid. They traded for Josh Richardson from the 76ers and James Jones from the Wolves re-sign JJ Barea and re-sign Willie Cauley-Stein. And one thing I want to bring up is everybody's been saying like since Luka got this good and Kristaps Porzingis came to the Mavs, they've been saying like, oh my God, the Mavs, if they can get a third scorer, they could be so good. They get that third scorer, and they've been putting all this weight on Tim Hardaway Jr. to be that third scorer. But I think now they have that third scorer. Josh Richardson, that's 14 points per game, 80% from the free throw line, 35% from three, 43% from the field. Like he's a solid player. You know, he's a solid third option, and he scores. Like that's what he does. Like he's a Lou Williams type scorer. Now I wouldn't say to the same level, but he scores. You know, that's what he does. And I think that them adding Josh Richardson gives them that third option. But something that does hurt very bad is that they lost Seth Curry. Seth Curry, man, he's like, I know it took him a while to make it to the NBA and get in the NBA. He had to go to a couple G Leagues, went to college was in college for like 4 years, but now he's a solidified role player in the NBA. Like he hit shots from deep. He scores 2 points less than Josh Richardson, but shoots it from the 3-point line, from the free throw line, and from the field at a better percentage and more effective than Josh Richardson. But I gave him a B-. So how y'all feeling about the Mavs?
I gave him a C+. I think Josh Richardson's a good pickup, but like you said, losing Seth Curry affects their shooting. I think they overpaid a little bit for Willie Cauley-Stein. I actually don't even think he's that good. But I think honestly, there's the reason why I actually gave him a C+ as opposed to a lower grade is they're keeping their options open for Giannis. You know, will Giannis want to go to Dallas? I don't know. I mean, he's in Milwaukee right now. So it's not like I mean, I don't know. I don't want to, talk smack on Dallas, but is he going to want to go to Dallas? I don't know. But if he does, obviously it's a good move for them. So this is a good move. Not making anything significant, not making big moves, just staying, smooth sailing to try to, have as much space and availability to take on Giannis next year if he chooses to go to Dallas. So I think they had an average offseason, but good for what they needed to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I agree with you too, because they didn't do too much, but they really kind of stayed in their lanes with picking up what they really needed. They didn't do too much.
Okay, all right. So moving on to the next team, we got the Golden State Warriors. Man, I went ahead and gave them a B. The reason why I gave him a B is because of that draft pick, man, James Wiseman. Boy, everybody that knows me knows I'm not a big Warriors fan, right? I'm not even, I don't really give Warriors their props, but they hit gold with James Wiseman. I think he's going to be like Anthony Davis potential. Like, I'm not saying that good because Anthony Davis is just like on a whole other level, but he has potential to get there, bro. He's mobile. He's nimble on his feet. He's so big too. He struck gold. The Warriors struck gold, man. So the Warriors struck gold. So I had to give him a B for that. How y'all feeling about that?
I actually gave him a C+, and I'll tell you why. Wiseman's a great pick. I agree with what you said, but the front office didn't do anything for that. It just fell on their lap. It really did.
But you got to draft a pick, though. You got to pick.
No, I know, but you can't screw up a second pick. You know what I mean? No, I take that back. But it's like, well, actually, I don't know.
Lonzo Ball.
But Lonzo Ball would say that now that he's played in the league, right? But we don't know. Wiseman could end up actually sucking when he plays in the league. But on a week, the draft was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks after draft, everybody was still high on Lonzo because if you're picked second, you're hyped. You're a good player. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at with Wiseman right now. So it's very possible that Wiseman could end. I mean, look, Kwame Brown was hyped. He was picked number 1. You know what I mean? Anthony Bennett was hyped. He was picked number 1. But let's see what he does in the league. Now, I agree. I think Wiseman is going to be a great player. But front office didn't do much. It just fell on their lap. The NBA gave him the second pick. And honestly, man, I'm not going to get on a rant here, but they weren't bad because they had a bad team. They were bad because of injuries. You know what I mean? Yeah. The NBA gave them that second pick. They gave them that second pick.
And it works out. It works out perfect for them because that's what they
exactly.
needed. They needed a mobile big man, not just a big man. They needed a mobile one.
So who were they gonna? They couldn't have messed. The front office couldn't have messed that up because Anthony Edwards. Yeah. Anthony Edwards went went first overall. Sorry, I got confused. Anthony, because I got a fun fact, but I'm gonna tell y'all after. Anthony Edwards, he went first overall. So who was the next best big man? You know what I mean? They couldn't have screwed it up. I think that's why I gave him a C. I think they overpaid for Oubre pretty bad. it's going to hurt their cap. Like, I think Oubre is a nice player, but the amount of money he's getting is more than what he deserves. And I actually think that because I looked at, the Warriors are like, they're always like riding the line with the luxury tax because they have like 4 huge contracts in Curry, Thompson, Draymond, and Wiggins. But so they're always riding the line of that luxury tax. And I think with the Oubre salary, they somehow screw themselves out of like $80 million or something. Like it's a lot more than the salary because now there's penalties that come with that. So I honestly think that they couldn't afford another big contract and they got one. Not that Oubre's contract is big, but it's big for his skill, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Wanamaker is okay. Bazemore's back. But honestly, yeah, I think they had an okay offseason. Not trying to hate on them, you know what I mean? I've been a little tough on this podcast. Like I gotta apologize to Sacramento and I gotta apologize to Dallas. I didn't mean to say anything bad about y'all cities. None of that stuff. But the same thing with the Warriors. Like I'm not trying to hate on them or anything like that. I just think, the NBA gave them the second pick. Couldn't really screw it up. That's why I couldn't give them as big a grade because I don't feel like the front office did anything spectacular or did anything like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of how I feel. And just before we transition real quick, the whole Anthony thing, so it's a fun fact. I don't remember what exactly the number is, but if you look back at the number 1 picks over the last few years, a lot of them had Anthony in their names. Anthony Bennett, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edward, Cole Anthony Towns. Like there's a lot of Anthonys in the first pick. That's why I was like, Anthony, let me make sure I say it right. I was like, Edwards. Okay, cool. I didn't want to say the wrong one. But anyway, that was way too long. I'm sorry. Jaylin, go ahead.
I gave him a B just because of the draft picks, because I love James Wiseman and I also love Nico Mannion. Nico Mannion has been he was nice for Arizona and he was nice in high school. And I've been watching him ever since high school. The white boy with with the red hair, but like he's like dunk on everybody. Just someone that could do everything for you. And I just love his game. But they lost Dragon Bender and Kai Bowman, which doesn't really mean much. They got more than what they lost. So. I got him a B for that.
Okay.
Mannion as well. Actually, they got him on a 2-way deal, so that's actually great. That's actually that actually was a good move for their front office. Getting Mannion on a 2-way deal, it means I don't think it's going to count against the roster. So that's a solid move.
All right. So the next team we got the Suns, man. So the Suns, I gave them a D. I actually gave them a D. Listen to me. They are supposed, like how you even said it earlier. You even said it earlier, Junior. They are supposed to be in win now mode with Devin Booker. With who's the strong guy again?
DeAndre
Ayton. Like this, they had Jalen McHugh. All these young players. You're supposed to win now. And what do? They trade for a 36-year-old CP3 who is not even gonna take CP. You take the Suns right now, and then you just add CP3 and Jay Crowder. They're not making the playoffs. They are still not making the playoffs. So
stop it, Skip.
They are still not making playoffs. So the reason why I gave the D is because you're supposed to be in win now mode. You have your best player that you want to win with right now, and they're young, and you sign a 36-year-old aging point guard who's not going to make you that much better, and then you sign Jay Crowder, and then you re-sign Dario Saric, and that's it. When you're supposed to win now, they should have went for they should have kept Oubre. That's what they should have did.
Yeah.
What?
I would have way rather keep Oubre and then sign 36-year-old CP is not going to be able to do what he did this year.
No. Listen. All right. Let me go here. I gave him an A. Actually, I gave him an A, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why I gave him an A. Because of exactly what we said. They're in win now mode. I actually think CP3 does make that difference. I had the same doubts about CP3 last year going into Oklahoma City. I thought they were just going to suck, and he helped them make them into a 5th seed. Like, he really did that. So he's an extremely nice player. Like, we're all here praising Rondo. CP3 is just as smart, if not smarter, much better than Rondo. And we're all talking about Rondo being a great pickup for the Hawks. I feel like that's the same thing with CP3, except better. And I get it that he was on a massive contract, but that's actually why that's a reason why I actually think it was a good move. Not the fact that the contract being huge, but the fact that they're in win now mode. They're in win now mode, so they had to get a solid player who can play make it, who can play make as well as Chris Paul that was available in this market.
Nobody. But how long is CP? How long is CP going to be playing well like this until he's 40?
No, but he's still good now. Good enough now that I think that Suns will make the playoffs. Actually,
and his skill set requires youngness, youthfulness. His skill set. And who do we?
Yeah,
and he's
I
thought
you meant down. No, I get it
with CP.
His age. I get it.
He played good with Shai Gilgeous Alexander, so I don't have that much doubt that he's not going to do good with
and Dennis Schroeder too.
Yeah,
that was good, and now he's going to have Booker. Look, imagine Booker doesn't have to take the ball up. I mean, who's taking the ball up last year? Ricky Rubio was young Suns?
Rubio.
Yeah, so that's a huge upgrade. No matter how you look at it, 36 or not, current CP3 is better than current Ricky Rubio. So they've upgraded that position. They've gotten better at the point guard position. CP3, I think, even though he's not what he used to be, he's still a very good player that's still going to pose a threat. He still has his mid-range is still super nice. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be able to have. So
gotta get to the mid-range.
Yes. Look, they have DeAndre Ayton. They have Booker. I always told you, John. I said the Suns need to figure it out soon because they have enough team. They have a squad nice enough to not be 15th or 13th in the West or something like that. Yeah. So I think adding CP3 and adding Jay Crowder is going to be a solid. That's a solid team. I think that's making the playoffs, honestly, because look, you got Ayton at the 5, you got DeAndre at the 4. Sorry, DeAndre Ayton and DeAndre. You got Ayton at the 5, a Crowder at the 4. I don't know who they would have at the 3, but then Booker
should have kept Oubre.
No, I get it, but I honestly I think that they have a good enough team now to make the playoffs. I think CP3 was a good ad. And look, right? CP3 he's a locker room guy too. He's a good leader. And Phoenix, not a free agent hotspot. Not saying anything bad about Phoenix. Phoenix is a great city, but not a free agent hotspot. So you get someone like CP3 to pair up with Booker and Ayton, and you might get some eyes. You might get some people looking. You might get some veterans willing to go there, So that CP3 move might pay dividends going forward because it might set up a good season now. Even if they don't win, they might be able to they might be good, and the teams will be more interested in players will be more interested in going to Phoenix, And they got to keep Dario Saric too. Dario Saric is not a bum, you know what I mean? So I honestly think I give them an A. I think they had a really, really good offseason. But Jaylin, man, I don't want you to fall asleep out here because they're just
bro, I'm listening to you and I'm just dang, you're getting all my points because I mean CP3 is a good pickup just because of what he brings to the team. Even if he isn't there, he brought a lot of value to the OKC. He's gonna bring that much value to the Suns. He's gonna set people up to for their careers going on. He's gonna be teaching DeAndre Ayton a lot of things. He's gonna be teaching D Book a lot of things, and they're both 21, 22 years old. Yeah. So this stuff that he's gonna be giving to them is really invaluable.
Yeah, and you see everybody on OKC too. They were CP3 is a great leader. Shea said that. Schroeder said that. All young guys, they learn from CP3. So I'm sorry for cutting you off.
What grade would you give him, Jaylin? Because Junior gave him an A. You gave him an A, right, Junior?
Yeah, I gave him an A.
What would you give him, Jaylin? B plus?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the only one with the hot take here. All right. So let's move on to the next team, man. Next team, we got the Pelicans. I gave the Pelicans a B minus because they traded for Eric Bledsoe, which is cool. They traded for Steven Adams, which is amazing, which is great for them. They re-signed Brandon Ingram, which is the biggest thing that happened their entire offseason. But man, what hurts and does not get made up with Eric Bledsoe is losing Jrue Holiday. Losing Jrue Holiday hurts him so bad. And they also lost Jahlil Okafor, but Steven Adams is 10 times what Jahlil Okafor will ever be. Eric Bledsoe will never, not to hate on Eric Bledsoe, he'll never be as good as Jrue Holiday. Everybody gives Jrue Holiday praise.
But he's nice though.
He's nice, but not Jrue Holiday. Not we've heard Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Stephen Curry. We've heard the greatest players in the NBA right now be like Jrue Holiday is the hardest player for me to play against. You know what I'm saying? We've heard that. So like how you say you talk about a lot of your peer respect. He has hella peer respect. He just gets snubbed on the All-Star, snubbed on the on the All NBA, All Defensive team because he's in the Western Conference, right? But like, man, like I think losing Drew Holiday hurts him so bad, and like Eric Bledsoe will try to make up for that, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd rather have Drew Holiday than Eric Bledsoe, but that's why I gave him B- because losing Drew hurts very bad. But again, signing Steven Adams and re-signing BI is amazing.
I agree with you. I gave him a B. I think, like you said, losing Drew Holiday is bad, but I think he wanted to leave, right? So, they kind of had to make lemonade out of the lemons they had. They were to get Bledsoe, which is better to get Bledsoe than nothing, in the situation that they were in. And adding Steven Adams, they're looking at a nice lineup. They're going to have Lonzo, Redick, Ingram, Zion, and Adams. Like, that's a solid starting five. Like, I think they could threaten for the playoffs. And honestly, like you said, John, they re-signed that boy BI. BI, another Laker baby. So go get your bread. Happy to see him get that fat contract. Especially after there was a doubt that he was even going to play because of that blood clot scare for Brandon Ingram. So it's really nice to see him. Thank God he's okay. And it's really nice to see him, getting that bag and playing up to the potential that we always knew he could get to. So really happy. I gave him a B. I think they had a good offseason.
I gave them a B too because I feel like, personally, I feel like they weren't appreciating Drew Holiday as much as they should have been. And I'm glad that he left, actually, because he's now going to a team that's going to be valuing him as a player that he is. And he's going to be forming that nice bond with Giannis in like at the Bucks. He's going to be a future probably championship contender next year just because of that addition to the Bucks. So I love that he left. And I love that they added Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Ingram again. This is going to be a nice solid core for next year.
Definitely. All right, so moving on to the next team, we got the Grizzlies, man. I just have the Grizzlies a C because they didn't really do much. They just added Mario Hezonja, but then lost Josh Jackson and Jonte Porter, which is Michael Porter's younger brother. So which is cool, but yeah, they didn't really do much. I just gave them a C. How are y'all feeling about the Grizzlies?
C+, extremely average offseason. I don't think they didn't add anyone significant. They didn't lose anyone significant, except maybe Josh Jackson. But he honestly, like, it's kind of unfortunate. But I think he's kind of done for in the league. Maybe I think he's on the Pistons now, but he's been like in this. Is he going to do it this season window for so long? And he might be out of the league. So which is sad because I think he was like a third or fourth overall pick. He was fifth?
I think he was like fourth or fifth, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he was five. I think, honestly, that it was just an average offseason, so C+. That's what I give him. What about you, Jaylin?
I gave them a C. That's it, because they didn't do anything at all, really, in my opinion. They, I feel like they're just going to start building around John Morant. Like coming next season, they're going to be, like trading more players and stuff. But like right now, they don't have a need. Oh, but they lost Josh Jackson, didn't they?
Yeah. They lost Josh Jackson.
Oh, that sucks.
My man's getting breaking news right now from our last team.
Crazy because I feel like him and John Morant and Josh Jackson, they would have been a good duo going together. Like over like the years, just like maturing together. But now that that's gone, I don't even know what's going to happen with them.
Okay.
I mean, they're not making the playoffs with or without Josh Jackson. Not in the West.
Yeah.
Tough. Even they almost did last year, but last year, the Warriors weren't in play, and they're going to be this year. Even without Clay, they'll probably at least make playoffs.
Yeah, he had a lot of potential. Josh Jackson did, and it was only his third year. That's why I had so much hope for him coming into next season.
I mean, it's not over for him, but it's just the window's getting tighter and tighter for Josh Jackson for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. All right, so for the next team, we got the Wolves. I gave – honestly, this was more of like a sympathy vote, and just because they had the first-round pick. I gave them B because it's the first-round pick. Because it's the first-round pick. That's literally the only reason why, because they ain't do nothing besides draft Anthony Edwards. They lost Ricky Rubio. They traded for Ricky Rubio, that's who they originally had drafted like 5 years ago, but lost James Johnson and Evan Turner, which again isn't the biggest thing in the world. But only reason why I gave him a B is because let's see what Anthony Edwards turns out to be. I'm not gonna say anything because I honestly did not watch. I don't watch much college basketball. I only watch NBA. Like that's what I watch. And Anthony Edwards, I didn't watch any of his games, and I really don't know, but We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if he even fits that team, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know, because they have D'Lo and Malik Beasley.
Anthony Towns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't think Anthony Edwards is center. I think he's like a 2.
He's a 2 guard.
He's 2 guard, right? Yeah.
Because he's a 6'6", 240, 40-inch vert. He's swole.
Is he nice like that, Jaylin, or what? I don't know yet.
Like coming out of high school, he was even nice. Coming out of college, he was nicer. He developed who he was in college, and now people are noticing that, and he got with the number 1 pick. So I feel like this is going to be a good pick. He has to get like his like shot going together, like a little more, because he's more of a 2 guard, not a point guard. And with D'Lo at the 1, it's going to be pretty interesting seeing what he's going to do at the 2.
Well, actually, that's what I was actually going to talk about. I gave him a B because nothing big, but actually they finally realized something that I've been saying for years. I think that Russell is actually a 2 guard, more of a 2 guard than a 1 guard. So I think getting Rubio was actually a good move by them because he could play the 1 guard, allowing Russell to score more. So until, I don't know if Edwards is going to become starting, he was the first overall pick, probably will be, but I don't know if he could play the 3 or not. Like John, I'm not a big college hoops guy. I'm more of a pro hoops guy. So we'll see what happens. But honestly, I think getting Rubio was actually a good move to enable more and get more out of D'Lo. And, let's see what happens with, I think they're going to have a nice team. Karl Anthony Towns keeps developing, but it's going to be, the age-old question of – or not the question, but the dilemma of good team, not good enough to make the playoffs. So we'll see what happens.
They're still fairly young, too, like the Wolves. Like Cat's only 24, D'Lo's only 25, 24, and with Anthony Edwards, he's only 20 years old. So they still have like a lot of room to grow as a team.
I think the Wolves. If I was the Wolves owner, what I would have did is I would have actually tried to swap that 1st-round pick to Phoenix and get Devin Booker. Boy, if they had D'Lo, Devin Booker, and Cat, come on, that is a championship team.
What would they be able to give them? Like a
first-round pick. A first-round pick and
pick for Devin Booker.
No, not just that. First-round pick and whoever else besides D'Lo and Cat. Everybody else is
who's left? Who's left?
Okay.
I'm gonna send you half of Ricky Rubio's contract. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think they have anybody else that could really, I guess, be significant enough to add onto that trade.
Yeah. Something else I'm willing to mention on Anthony Edwards. As a hooper, I did not like this. I absolutely despise this. He on the interview, he in his draft night interview, they asked him like, "Do you watch basketball?" And he was like, "No, I don't even watch." Like he's like, "I don't even watch basketball. Like I'm just a football guy." He's like, I'm better at basketball. Like that pissed me off so much. Like this has nothing to do with the Wolves. That pissed me off so much. Is just like people who love basketball like us have to like wish to be in the NBA, and he's in the NBA and just like doesn't even watch basketball. And like all he has to do is play basketball. And like, and how are you in the NBA? You got to watch your opponent. You got to know how your opponent gonna come. You're not even watching. He's gonna
be nice if he said all that and got picked first.
Yeah.
He's got to be nice. But yeah, no, I hear you. Some people just they don't do it for the love. Well, it definitely would have been nice to be 6'5". I'll tell you that.
All right, so moving on to
I guess I have to settle for 6'6".
Moving on to the final team, man. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder, which I think I'm gonna have another hot take. So let me go ahead and get this out the way so Junior could go crazy. I gave the Thunder, believe it or not, the lowest grade of any team. I gave them an F. I gave the Thunder a F. Check this out, bro.
Out there?
Check this out. I gave the Thunder an F because I get it. I already know the reason why. Like the reason why they did it is because like what Junior mentioned earlier. It's like if you're losing in the finals and if you're losing the first round, you're still losing, right? So like you're losing no matter what, right? But they went from a 5th seeded playoff team to trading away everybody, just total rebuild mode right now. Traded away CP3 as a starter for them. Dennis Schroeder, which sometimes was a starter for them, sometimes he came off the bench, but everybody knows he was basically a starter on that team, right?
Quality.
Yeah, quality. Steven Adams, absolutely amazing starter. Terrence Ferguson doesn't start every game, but he's a good starter sometimes. Hella bounce. Danilo Gallinari didn't come back. Nerlens Noel didn't come back. They just lost all these players. And check this out. Let me read you who they got back. You'll probably only recognize 2 players. They got Al Horford, Ty Jerome, Jalen LeCue, Vicente Porter, Trevor Ariza, Justin Jackson, George Hill, Darius Miller, and TJ Leaf. So they basically lost 4 starters for Al Horford and a bunch of young guys and George Hill.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I see it.
Jalen? Jalen's like your favorite.
Jalen LeCue is going to be nice, but Jalen LeCue needs like 2-3 more years to get bigger. He's got crazy bounce, but he's got to get a lot better. No, that everybody understands, but like they basically traded away their entire team that got them there. I understand that, like, if you lose in the finals or if you lose in the first round, it's the same thing, still losing. But like, it's easier to rebuild from the 5th seeded to a championship team than from nothing to a championship team. You know what I'm saying? So like, I didn't understand that move, so which is why I gave him an F, man. Like that is a total fail to me.
I wouldn't go as far to say total fail, but I agree that they had some bad moves. I give them a C, and I think that I think they're getting a little greedy with all these picks. I think it became a joke, and I think they're running with it and letting it get to their heads. Too much of this, we're going to have so many picks and so many picks this, but they're really forgetting about the now. So, here they go again for rebuild, destroy the team more and get more picks. It's not a bad idea in a stacked West, which is why I gave them a C and not an F. But at some point, the fans are going to have enough. They're just like, all right, man, we're just trying to see some basketball now. Draft picks don't score. You know what I mean? Draft picks are picks. That's what they are. Yeah. So they picked up Al Horford, who's okay, but he really fell off a cliff last season. And honestly, man, like if they win, I think they're going to need to win like 8 titles in a row to make up for all the putting their fans through and all the picks they're going to get. You know what I mean? But, like John said, losing Gallinari, Adam Schroeder, and CP3, it's not going to be easy for them. They're not going to get near the playoffs, but that's also what I said last year. They weren't even going to get near the playoffs last year, and they did. So, we'll see if they're going to surprise us again, but I really doubt it this time. I really doubt it. But we'll see. I think it's just going to be a little bit of more rebuild. But it's just like, man, they already had a lot of picks. They didn't need to keep just leveraging. They're now for more. They're present for more picks. But that's what they're doing. So let's see what happens. But yeah, C, average season, maybe C plus, but not much.
I gave them a C because they lost a lot of players. They got a lot of players. So it's kind of just like neutral to me. It's kind of just like. They're kind of like evening each other out, nothing good, nothing bad, but it's just stuff just going in and out. Too much stuff going on.
Okay, definitely. Well, there you have it, everybody. Jaylin Jr., thank you so much, man. I had so much fun, y'all. This was so much fun, and stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned for some more because next week. Y'all guessed it. Yes, sir. We got the East coming. And the East, I feel like they did more moves in the West. I think the teams in the East did some moves in the West. Nice. So we got some juicy, nice topics for next week, man. So y'all stay tuned. I'm going to go ahead and we're not in the Clutch Talk Studios anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and drop both Jalen's IG and Junior's IG right in their names, man. So go ahead and follow Jaylin and Junior, man. Go ahead. I'm gonna put the Clutch Talk IG here at the bottom. I don't know where yet, but put it right here. So go ahead, click that, man. Follow. Go ahead, click that, follow that, man. Turn your post notifications bell on, man, so you get a notification every time we drop a video. And just join the family, man, because I promise you, y'all, we starting this season 2 of Clutch Talk. Me, Junior, and Jaylin, y'all, we going hard. We going hard this season, y'all. We going coming week. Every week we dropping an episode for y'all, man. So be ready for this season 2. And me and my guys, we're gonna be ready. We know the season coming up, huh? Season coming up right around the corner.
Man. Already.
22nd. So
I'm curious what's gonna happen because teams that made a deep playoff runs, they're gonna get no rest.
Yeah. So
I'm curious. I think the season's gonna be one where we're going to see a lot of good teams not have good regular season records and then just take off in the playoffs. So this one's going to be an interesting one. We're going to have like a 6th seed or 5th seed win the finals maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. But all right, I appreciate both y'all coming on, man. And that's it, y'all. So we out here, y'all. Clutch Talk out.